what you're saying. So there's no black and white when it comes to sexual orientation from a scientific perspective.
My sincere hope is that every single kid gets the opportunity to do exactly what you're doing now. To explore yourself, to explore the world around you, to explore the science and the religion and have fun with it and come out whatever you decide to be, as long as it's you. That's what matters.
But our society has to have structure for us.
Fuck that.
Why? Because if not, we don't have structure and certain guidelines that we can all. We have anarchy. We have rebellion. We have communism. Socialism.
Because those are the same thing, right?
Those are the same thing.
Yes. Communism, socialism, Marxism, and veganism. They're all in there.
Christianism too. We just gonna lump them all together.
Yes. No, the whole thing about this structure of society, it's funny.
Because the reason why I bring that up, and I'm not just trying to be an asshole about the whole thing, even though I low-key kind of am, because it's actually preposterous, but these are legitimate concerns that people in the conservative Christian community from which I've come from have. You know, because if everybody was gay, like there would be no reproduction, which my first was like, ooh, that's not what we're saying.
Yeah. And the first thing is they often say, well, you know, it has to be, it's natural because gays can't reproduce. Okay, so are you saying that everybody who's infertile shouldn't be allowed to get married either? What about that? What if they're asexual? What if they decide not to have kids? Are they unnatural? But that's beside the point. The whole thing is, when you talk about, you know, structure to society and things like that, the people who say that society has to have structure and it looks like this are the same type of people who say God wants you to do this and this. It always happens to be exactly what they want to. It's always what they think is right and what they want and what's best for them. That's the structure of society. That's the will of God. The fact of the matter is, we'd be in a lot better place if everybody was allowed to be who they wanted to be and to do what they wanted to do, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. That's the key. Because, you know, the obvious argument is, oh, well, if we allow homosexuality, the next we'll have pedophiles.
Because that's the same thing.
Yes. And they don't even realize just how disgusting that comparison
and how dangerous it is to compare that. I know people that will keep gay people from their children.
The amount of people that I have to fight with all the time. They're like, oh, these trans people, they just want to get around little kids. They just want to go in the bathroom and see little kids. Like, first of all, no, they don't. There's no data to support that. You're confusing them with priests.
Right.
Second of all, you're taking a person, it's the same thing you just said a minute ago with dehumanization, you are taking a person's whole identity, a massive and complex part of their being. They're not trans sometimes and sometimes, they are always who they are. And the only reason we call it trans is because we need a word for it, because our dumb asses didn't have one so far. You are reducing this person's humanity down to a ridiculous dichotomy and a stupid made up issue so that you can point to them and say, hey, nobody in here likes pedophiles, right? So if you disagree with me, you're the gross one. That's not what anybody's talking about.
Lump all of those together and then make it the same thing. But then you have 7-year-olds, you have 12-year-olds, you have 13-year-olds that are in your congregations, that are in your schools, who identify this way, and they know they do, hearing this verbiage. Because I've heard people say that. I've heard, I can't even tell you some of the things I heard, and I can't tell you how it made me want to just shrink back. I didn't want to be on the earth anymore. I didn't want to live.
Think about the history of the words you get. Think about the F slur, right? The word comes from...
It's faggot, by the way, just for those of y'all that live so far removed, you don't know what it is.
I'm always careful about it because, you know, I don't want to be a jerk. But the term comes from...
That's where I come in.
Right? Thank you so much. The term comes from a bundle of sticks that was burned at the stake. They put it on a pile to burn witches. Because you
did it really? I didn't know that.
That's a faggot is a bundle of sticks.
Yes. No, it isn't. Is it really?
That's why in the UK they still call cigarettes fags.
I knew that.
Yeah, because it's a bundle of sticks, twigs. Yes. And so a faggot was something that you, as a bundle of sticks, you threw on the fire to burn a witch. So now they're saying you're just something else to burn because they also threw homosexuals on the fire because they weren't good enough to tie to the stake. That's where the term comes from. Yes. That's why they're calling you that. So you notice I'll use the term when I'm talking about sticks, but not when I talk to a gay person, because there's a difference. But anyway, that's where the term comes from, bro.
Crazy.
So this isn't just a silly little word that sounds funny. This has a deep dehumanizing history to it. And yes, of course, the kid on the playground using this doesn't know that. Yeah. But we have to identify that how did it get to how did that get to that kid's head?
Yeah.
That kid didn't come up with it.
You don't have to know. You don't have to know the meaning, but you can feel the energy of what that means. And it still has an impact on you.
Yes. And so all of these slurs and terms, they have these histories to them. And like I said, the kids don't know these histories, but how did the words get to the kids? It comes through generations after generations after generations of hate. And they learn it from somebody. It may not be their parents, it may be the internet. The internet's a horrible place.
Or peers that are confused.
Absolutely, absolutely. The fact of the matter is, this is generations of hate that are still being dumped on children.